Dealing with a sinning brother.
Ooh, what does it
Dealing,
say again? Healing?
dealing,
Oh,
dealing with a sinning brother.
dealing with a sinning brother. Wow.
It's a tough thing to deal with sometimes.
Oh, no. Dealing with a sinning self is even hard to work with. So I
It's true.
understand.
It's very true.
And then if it's somebody else, you have to deal with another personality,
Yeah.
as well as you.
Everybody's sinning now.
Oh
Not good.
boy, I know. What?
Moreover, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he hears you, you have gained your brother. So if you can communicate with somebody
One on one, just like,
without any external bias, you can come to an agreement with another human being and you don't have to fear anything.
right. And I've learned, maybe on the giving, but more on the receiving as well. Like sometimes it's okay to like talk to them and point it out, but maybe they're not ready to hear it right away. But it's always good to give them a day to ponder it, like so that they like unless they're totally rejects it, but just to let them,
Give them
like they
some
don't.
time.
It's not like they don't, not to. You're not going them to. You're just going to point it out, but they don't need to answer you right away or anything. They just need to then just
Right.
ask them to pray about it so they can see it from, you
But I
know,
think to a certain extent, you are doing your brother a disservice by not immediately pointing it out
right.
or at all. Whereas some ways I may
It's
have
true.
thought
Yeah.
that like I was somehow saving this person from ridicule. But
Yes,
like
but right, you're not
it's
he
not.
then he doesn't know he did something wrong and then he's gonna do it again
Right.
because so you're really hurting him, really, or her.
Right.
You're right.
So
You're right. You are right.
start speaking up. But if he will not hear, take with you one or two more, that by the mouth of two or three witnesses, every word may be established. So if we're gonna create a story, we're gonna make sure there's other people here to authenticate that story.
Yes, yes, yes.
And if he refuses to hear them, tell it to the church. But if he
Yes. So
refuses, so just tell it to everybody then.
but you're still in a safe kind of place. This is like you're really talking about a brother. They're talking about a brother like a Christian, not like a,
Well,
a
if you're
straight,
getting to the point of telling the entire church, there's been some
right.
deception, I
Exactly.
think,
Yeah.
or
So it's
something has gone wrong.
right. And it's something that to do with the church as opposed to, you know, there would be
Well,
probably,
if you're, yeah, one of the members of the church.
right, sins against the church, exactly. But the verse 16, if not, take one or two more with you, yeah. I mean, it's good to have a witness too, right? Because then it seems more serious, and
Right, but it's
maybe that's enough.
only if the other person won't hear you alone.
Exactly, exactly,
So it means
exactly.
that they have to rebuke you alone before you bring other people.
Right,
And then if that doesn't work, then you have to tell everybody.
right. Unfortunately, yeah. And now we would be, I mean,
But
you
then again, it's like it's for your own, it's for both of your to keep everything straight, and it has to be.
right. So, do you remember when we read the Corinthians, where they were covering up a sin, the church,
Mm,
So
right.
I think this is like the opposite, because otherwise, then it's kind of like the church. I mean, you're misleading people then by not correcting the other person when everyone else sees that that's okay, and it could be, it's
Right.
probably. not like the person that just came in off the street. It's probably like a leader in the church that you're correcting, because
It,
otherwise,
yeah,
you
somebody
don't.
you may feel uncomfortable saying that
Right,
to.
right. Because if it's somebody that just came into the church, you wouldn't correct them right away. Like they're just learning too. So it's someone that,
Right.
you know,
No,
so
you're right. It's supposed to be.
yeah. So,
But then again,
but
it's
then,
one of the things where we think we're doing the ultimate good, but at the end of the day, we're messing everything up
we're messing everything up by
by not
just
doing what we were supposed to in the first
right.
place.
And that's hard. It's hard to confront people. It is
Well, it
hard.
is. It's hard to confront yourself too, I think, as well. The
Oh,
first
yes, that's
to
true
know
too.
that like ultimately the other people are what you're frustrated at, but you're still the root cause of the problem.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you could do all this and they still might not hear.
Right.
But at least there's steps that you can take, and hoping that the first step would work and you don't have to go
That you could do
all
it the
this.
first time.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Um, and if he
So
refuses to hear them, tell it to the church. But if he refuses even to hear the church, let him be to you like a heathen and a tax collector. Was that?
poor tax collectors got really
I know.
bad rep back then, but um
A tax was wrong, even in the Bible.
right, right. I mean, I think the IRS still gets a bad rap, but it's not like we say like a heathen or like a or IRS man or anything. Sorry if you're it's not really fair to give you a bad time. And the good thing is Jesus did pick Matthew that wrote this book, a tax collector.
Because
So
even tax collectors can do good,
and Matthew is the one writing this.
right?
So he is saying it as his own thing. Well, he's saying it because
I
Jesus
bet
said
you
it.
we're not
But
going to hear a mention of another tax collector in the rest of it.
right. No. So yes, I know what you mean. So he obviously they did have a bad rep, didn't they?
Certainly did.
I see.
Assuredly, I say to you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loose in heaven. Again, I say to you that if two of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where two or three are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. Yeah, it takes at least a one-on-one connection with another human being to call upon the kind offices of God.
I know. Thank you, Jesus. Oh,
And that's very peaceful, Mother.
it is very
It
peaceful.
brings me abounding peace.
Abounding peace.